Hi guys, Peace Officer UK Davey here on this beautiful sunny day. Lovely out there. I've had to close the sunroof over so where you can see me properly. It doesn't wash me out with the bright sunlight. Right, so what I'm going to talk about today. I made a video a few days ago. There's just no pleasing some people. I think I remember it was called. And there was lots of lovely comments. Thank you so much for your love and support and the comments and whatever. I truly appreciate them, and I appreciate you all. I really do. Right, so of course there was a couple of comments. You always get some. But as it happens, I'm not pissed off with them at all, because it gives me an opportunity to address their concerns, as I'm doing now. So let's start with the first one. The first one was saying that they didn't trust me because I'm very twitchy. My mouth keeps twitching, and I can't seem to maintain eye contact with the camera. So let me address that. And the reason I want to address that is because other people might be just curious or interested as to why I twitch so much. Okay, so the answer is, of course, I have Tourette syndrome. I've had Tourette syndrome since I was about 12, 13 years old. And I'm now 56 years old, so that's like at least 43 years. They are motor tics. I have them all the time, every day, day in, day out. I tick an average of, and I'm probably underestimating this amount, but I tick on average about approximately, because I calculated it once, based on a 16-hour day. So whilst I'm awake, because I don't, according to my other half, I don't tick in my sleep. 16-hour day, I tick on average 500,000 times per month. Okay, so that's approximately 6 million times per year. Predominantly, it's usually face, neck, shoulders, but it can be literally anywhere. Hips, ribs, constant tensing and such like. Now, obviously, I'm an old boy now. I'm 56. The older I get, the more it hurts. I'm in pain every single day, all day, every day, 24/7. It wakes me up in the night, not being able to get comfortable because of the pain. That's going to happen. That's just, it's something. I've got a very, very high tolerance to pain, so a very high pain threshold because of Tourette's. Now, obviously, it affects me in certain ways, but both negatively and positively. I would say positively, I'm a lot more agile and flexible than your average 56-year-old. I see a lot of people in my local town that I went to school with, some of them even, a year or two below me, and they're in mobility scooters or they need a walking stick, or you can just tell that they've seized up or whatever the condition may be. So I consider myself very lucky in that sense, and I think Tourette's has played a part in that. It's made me more flexible. Now, maybe also I used to do, back in the 90s, I used to do karate. I did Ryu Shinkan for a while, and then I switched to Wada Ryu, which is basically the same. They're all based on Shotokan. So that obviously I was, quite flexible. More recently, up until just for the lockdowns, I was doing Krav Maga. Now, I recommend Krav Maga to anybody and everybody. It's the best, in my opinion. It's the best form of self-defense. Okay, it's Krav Maga. For anyone who doesn't know what Krav Maga is, spelled KravMaga. It's the closest you will get to a street fight situation. Okay, closest you will get. Yeah, I'm trained to disarm guns, knives, bats, tasers, you name it. I can disarm it in 1 to 2 seconds. If it's taken me 2 seconds, that's because there's too much of a struggle. Usually a second. It's very quick, very effective, and of course keeps you fit at the same time. So I'm not, as fit as I could be. Of course not. I carry quite a large weight here, the battery for a love machine, as some might say. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. So maybe that is also why I'm more flexible than the average 56-year-old. But my Tourette certainly plays a huge part in that, because when you're stretching muscles and tensing, it's tensing. Now let me explain what Tourette's, how it feels. Okay, I've described it before. I don't know if any of you remember Pete Bennett. He was in one of the early Big Brothers, and he had Tourette's. He had coprolalia Tourette, it's called, which is you have the vocal tics as well as the motor tics. I have some motor tics at times, but they're it could just be grunting or like throat clearing, that kind of thing, repetitively. Just as I say it, I get the feeling. It's and that's like that. You see, if I see somebody else ticking, I adopt their tics. It's just the nature of the condition. Yeah, how it feels inside. It feels like yeah, Pete Bennett, he described it in his book, because I obviously got his book because of the fascination with Tourette's. And he explained it the way I kind of felt it. I'd never actually explained it in those words before, but I got it immediately what he was saying. He said it's like having a demon inside you, a little devil inside you. If you say, don't press that red button, it's going to go bang like that. It just can't help it. It can't help itself, right? And that's what it feels like. It's Tourette's is actually, the tics are involuntary. Sorry, the tics are voluntary, not involuntary. The voluntary tics. So you think, well, why do you tick then? Well, if you can, suppress it, I can suppress it probably for a maximum of about 30 seconds fully. So if I had to pose for a photograph, after, when it comes to 30 seconds, I can't help resist it anymore. It's an irresistible urge. Yeah. The best way I can to get you to demonstrate it to yourself, which a tip I picked up on somebody else who had Tourette's, and it was an excellent comparison, is to try not to blink. Yeah, blinking is voluntary, just like Tourette's. You think it's involuntary, but it's not. You choose when to blink. It's just that your subconscious does it for you. But if somebody said to you, let's have a staring contest, right? And so you can, first one to blink loses. You'll be able to do that for about 30 seconds, a minute, maybe. Even some people may be able to go for a couple of minutes, but if to go that long, you feel the urge, the overwhelming urge to blink, just like an itch. Like the overwhelming urge to scratch it is the same as Tourette's. Yeah, it's the same. It's that same urge. So at some point, especially if your mind is taken off of that, so let's say, for example, you had an itchy arm, yeah, and you're scratching it and you go, no, I'm not going to scratch, because the more you scratch it, obviously the more you irritate the skin, which makes it even itchier. So you have to kind of ride it out, but it's hard to do. Now you can do that until somebody distracts you, and they're, you know, you're looking at them and you're talking and whatever, and then suddenly you'll find yourself scratching it, or a bit like biting your nails. You know, you think, I don't want to bite my nails, I want to learn to play guitar, so I don't want to bite my nails, right? But when you're not, you know, you're watching something or whatever, you'll be like that, you know, biting your nails, and then you're going, oh damn, I bit my nails, damn it, you know. So you can't control it to a degree. Even though you do control it, you don't control it at the same time. The tics that you see on these videos, because I know there's a camera pointing at me, right, my phone camera, that is, this is restrained, trust me. This is restrained. These twitches, these tics, this is me suppressing it, right? I've explained this to my beautiful other half, Jess, before, but she's never seen it herself. And I explained why she would never see it herself, right? If I'm in a room on my own and I know nobody can see me at all, right, you would think I was having some kind of epileptic fit, okay? You would seriously go, oh my God, what's wrong with him? Yeah, the tics are massive, okay, and more than the average. Yeah, if I suppress a tic, right, at some point it's going to come out even more, okay? A bit like if you suppress blinking, yeah, when you do finally blink, you won't just blink once, yeah, you'll blink, you know, 20 times. The urge is still there every time you blink, so you'll be blinking loads, your eyes will be streaming, it'll almost hurt, you know, and that's the same with Tourette's. Yeah, that's the same. So I hope that clears it up. I say his comment was he didn't accept that. I left a comment to say, you know, excuse me, my mate, my friend, but that's called Tourette syndrome. Yeah, and I briefly explained it, and he responded saying, I know the difference between Tourette's and twitchy. I work with, or I worked with, what was it? Mental health patients or something like that. And I'm thinking, what, mental health? It's not a mental health condition. It's a neurological condition. It's a misfiring of neurons and so on and so forth. So it's not a mental health condition. It's a neurological condition. I've been diagnosed by 3 neurologists. So I definitely do have Tourette's, just to be clear. Yeah. Yeah, when I went to respond to that, to say, you know, having had Tourette's for over 4 decades, I'm more of an expert in it than you are. Trust me, anybody who knows me by now knows I do my research. If you're told you've got a condition, trust me, even you would do your research, yeah? Find out more about it, who's got it and whatever. Lewis Capaldi has got it, yeah, similar to me, yeah? So there will be times that you'll see me that look like I'm having a fit or a heart attack or whatever. Don't worry, it's just me girding, you know, or twitching, whatever. So it makes me want to do it now. But yeah, I can suppress it to a degree, yeah. But when I'm in a room on my own and I know there's no cameras, there's no people, it's just like crowd going crazy. Not quite like that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully that addresses that. If you think I'm being shifty because I'm twitchy, the motor tics, it's Tourette syndrome. I do have a diagnosis. I have had for many years. I suffer with it every day. If you wake up, an average person wakes up with a stiff neck, it'll take you probably a day, couple of days maybe to get over it, and you won't be able to move it. You know, you'll just go, oh, I'll move it this way, but I can't move it that way. Tourette's is very different. When you've got Tourette's, it goes, oh, you've got a stiff neck, have you? Well, let's do that then. You go, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, God, oh. Do you know what I mean? You do a lot of praying to Jesus and God, because it hurts, yeah? Because that little demon inside you gets its fix, yeah, from the pain, okay? That's what it's about. if I can't even take painkillers to even numb the pain, okay, because the Tourette's knows, the little demon inside knows I've got pain there. So if I dull the pain, if I reduce the pain somehow, it twitches it even harder. What it needs is that bite, that ow. Oh, it needs that. Now, I don't go around constantly going ow, 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 ow every few seconds, yeah, because as I say, I've got a huge tolerance now to pain because of it, okay, which, you know, can serve me well in other ways. So I don't see it as necessarily a burden. Of course it's a burden, but at the same time it's a blessing too. You know, so it doesn't always restrict me. It doesn't restrict me doing normal everyday things. I don't consider myself disabled. I don't consider anything like that. I don't know, you know, I could do with the blue badge, to be honest with you, because the parking's amazing. But then I don't pay parking tickets anyway, so it doesn't matter. Right, so that was the first one. Anyway, that's a brief explanation of why I twitch so much. It's not because I'm being shifty or I don't have confidence in what I'm saying. I always have confidence in what I'm saying, otherwise I wouldn't say it. Simple as that. Everything I teach, I have confidence in. I've done enough research, I've got enough knowledge, and so on and so forth. Anyone wants to question me on it, please, please, please do. I love questions. I've said this in my talks all through last year. If you've got any questions, please ask me the questions. I love questions because questions give me the opportunity to do things like this, for example, and explain more about it. Because although, you know, people are not necessarily judging me for having Tourette's, they might be interested in it. They might go, well, I wonder why he ticks so much or twitches so much. I wonder, you know, well, is there something wrong with him? Is there, you know, what is it? Or they might have it themselves, and, you know, hopefully, you know, if I give an explanation, it helps somebody else. It helps me when other people talk about Tourette's. See, I never used to talk about Tourette's up until my early 20s, right? I was quite embarrassed by it. In the early stages, it was even worse. I used to lick light switches and kiss door handles, and it was stupid shit. I don't do that anymore, but that's how it first came out, okay? It was all kinds of weird, crazy shit. Honestly, mental. And they were known in my family, by my parents and my siblings and whatever, as habits. They were my habits, Davey's habits. Because obviously I had no diagnosis back then. It came out of the blue all of a sudden. Oddly, around the time I had my BCG jab. I'm saying nothing. Don't want this video getting removed. Coincidence. Go with that. And it just started all of a sudden. I'd find myself, you know, I'd need the sensation. I still have some weird things, something cold, yeah, like a bottle of water or a can, you know, a cold can. There's a certain part just, you know, below my stomach, a particular spot that I have to touch it on to get the sensation of the cold. Yeah, it's weird, I know, weird, crazy, but you know, to me, it's not necessarily crazy. I'm used to it. It's just what it is. My family, my friends, they all know me to be this way. And to be honest with you, if I was any different, they'd probably go, oh my God, what's wrong with Davey? So yeah, this is how they know me. So I used to be embarrassed by it. Like I say, what changed that was one person, right? One person changed all of that, turned my life around completely. An old friend of mine called Steve J. I was working in, I got a job in a factory making conveyor belts years ago. This is back in the 90s, right? So making conveyor belts, and on day one, I was working next to this guy called Steve J. And a hell of a character, a lovely bloke, a real joker, always cracking jokes, always, you know, very confident bloke. He was the life and soul of every party and the factory, to be honest. So, and I'm working next to him, right? and I'm ticking. Now, I thought I disguised it well, but, you know, clearly I didn't. It's just that people didn't challenge me about it, and so therefore I thought that nobody was kind of seeing it. I thought I was being discreet like I am being now. This is as discreet as I was being. Oh, pardon me. Which is discreet, trust me. Even though you can see certain tics, especially here, this muscle here tenses a lot. And he just turned around to me and goes, have you got twitch? And I'm like, it was like I'd been hit in the face with a brick. It was like, oh my God, somebody'd spotted it. I was on the spot. How do I explain? What? This is weird. I don't know what to do, right? And I just went, yeah. And he went, oh, okay. And I'm like, what? Is that it? You know, didn't want to, because I was, up until that point, I was quite embarrassed by it. You know, I know I shouldn't have been. You know, I was a young man at the time, so I know now. Obviously, I'm not embarrassed by it now. I'm talking about it freely in a, you know, open public forum. So, but I was embarrassed by it. It's getting so warm in here. Sorry, because I had to close the windows and traffic and whatever. I'm actually at my little boy's primary school, waiting for him to come out. Yeah, so I was embarrassed by it, but obviously now I'm not. I'm very open about it. I can't, you know, even though I withhold a lot of it and it comes out at other times, I can't help that. It's just, you know, the way my brain is trained, really. So yeah, just that, you know, being asked about it and me going, yeah, because I thought, well, what do I do? I can't say no, you know, I'd be lying, and I wasn't looking to be lying. So yeah, I just went, yeah, and he just went, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, people don't actually care. People don't actually care. They're not judging me. They're not, you know. So that was a turning point in my life, and that was a huge moment for me with my Tourette's, okay? And one clearly I still hold to this day as an important turning point in my life. So thank you to Steve J just for asking that question. So when it comes to asking questions, I love answering questions. I really do. Yeah, I really do love answering questions because it gives me the opportunity to explain myself as I'm doing now. So that brings me on to the second one. As I say, the first one wasn't really a question, it was a statement. Now, he as I say, he responded, and so I'd done a long detailed response, but by the time I'd finished typing up the response and trying to post it, it wouldn't post. And then I'd noticed it's because he obviously read through that comment again, rethought it, or maybe he checked out some of my other videos on my channel and thought, oh yeah, he does tick all the time, actually, that's okay, fair enough. So he obviously deleted it, right? So, but that's fine, you know. I get there's different types of people in the world. He's clearly paranoid, and you know, and things like, oh, he's been shifted, look, he doesn't make eye contact with the camera. I can't make eye contact with the camera for that long. My Tourette's won't allow me to. Plus the fact, when I'm sitting in my car outside my boy's school and there's traffic going by, there's people I know, obviously, because the one that does the school runs, people I know, whatever, there's cars, there's, you know, a police car go past or whatever. There's a lot of distractions there. There's a lot of windows in this car. So yeah, focused on that one little point there. I can't do it, you know, all the time. It's just not possible. So that's why. But yeah, the other question was, why do I dress like them? All right. So as you can see, I'm wearing my Peace Officers UK top now. That's because from essentially 6 AM to 9 PM, I'm on call. Yeah, I'm on call. If somebody has a bailiff come out, those are the hours that bailiffs work. That's the time I get up in the morning, and roughly about the time I go to bed. Sometimes I'll stay up a bit later, sometimes I'll stay up way too late, end up with about 3 hours sleep before I'm up again. So depends on what I'm doing. So yeah, that I'm on call. But the main reason I wear these uniforms, these outfits, is not because I'm now he didn't use this term, but you know, I've heard this term, a Walt, right? And anyone who doesn't know what a Walt is, it's based on the fictional character Walter Mitty. Okay, now Walter Mitty first appeared in one of the American newspapers, I can't remember which one, something like New York Times or Washington Post or something like that, as a fictional character. And it's a man who's basically got delusions of grandeur. Okay, and if you don't know what delusions of grandeur is, it's like they want to be the hero, they want to, you know, they want to emulate. So a Walt it's a common term used in the military, actually, to describe somebody who is a wannabe soldier but doesn't want to sign up to be an actual soldier, right? So what they do is they just dress up like a soldier and play the role as if they're a soldier, right? So that's what a Walt is, a Walter Mitty. Many of you may have seen the film. I've seen it before. What is it? The Something of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller. If you look up Ben Stiller and look in his filmography on Wikipedia, you'll see the film to do Walter Mitty. And it's basically someone like, you know, they want to save the damsel in distress, and so they imagine themselves in that role, they'll dress like it, that kind of thing. So that's where the term kind of comes from. But I'm not being a Walt. To be a Walt would mean I would want to be a bailiff or a police officer, which is, trust me, I really don't. These are tyrants. Okay, I don't see the police as heroes. I don't see them as an emergency service. I see them as revenue generators and abusers of people's rights. So why on earth would I want to be one? It's not me, I'm afraid. I dress like them because I understand psychology a lot, okay? A lot about psychology. I also understand a lot about how computers work, okay? You might think, well, what's that got to do with anything? Okay, I have a BTEC National Diploma in IT, and so I have a huge I taught myself to program actually round about the time I got Tourette's, funny enough, from age 13, with an old Atari 400, and then went on to an Atari 800, and then an Atari ST, and had various computers, Spectrums, Commodores, all kinds, back in the 1980s. And programs back then were in magazines. You had to type them all out. You kind of, you know, taking dictation kind of thing. And so I learned a lot just from that, and taught myself to program, and had a huge fascination in computers. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because this thing up here, this brain of ours, is an organic computer. It works exactly the same as a computer, okay? Everything you see is with your eyes, right? You're not seeing in its raw format. You're seeing a digital photograph. You're actually 24 per second, or 23.97 or something per second. So your eyeballs just let in the light, and your optic nerve converts that into ones and zeros, binary code, sends that to the brain, and then it decodes that into the image that it's photographed. Essentially, it's a camera, and then displays it on a big screen in your head. So if you think you're looking right now with your eyes, no, you're not. You're looking at a big screen in your head. Yeah. Same applies for audio. Okay. Now, I've said this before to people: if a tree falls in the woods and there's nobody, or a forest, whatever, and there's nobody around to hear it, does it make a sound? And you'll get 50% saying yes, 50% saying no. The answer, of course, is no. It doesn't make a sound. Nothing makes a sound except you. You make the sound in your head. What the tree does when it falls, it creates a vibration, a frequency, right? Your ear canal picks up that frequency. It then sets off a tiny little nerve, which then instructs a little tiny hammer to bang against a very little tiny drum, right, known as the eardrum, which is digital code, varying intensity and so on and so forth, which then gets converted by an oral nerve and into ones and zeros, travels to the brain, which then decodes that and then looks in its database of sounds and matches the frequency or that code to the sound, and then plays. Oh, excuse me, let me just have a drink. And then plays that sound in your head. Okay, that's how the brain works. It's a computer. Because it's a computer, and this is my point as to why I wear the outfits, the uniform. I've got various outfits, various uniforms, all different types. I've got this, I've got a navy blue high-vis vest, I've got a high-vis yellow one, I've got black ones, I've got a whole variety of them, right? So why do I wear them? Why do I want to dress like them? It's a psychological trick. It's a tool I use, a weapon, yeah? And trust me, it works. I have had a police officer calling me Sarge, knowing full well I'm not a police officer. Right? This was in Hyde Park in May of 2021. I was there with my brother Paul. He was dressed as a peace officer. My good friend Adam, he was dressed as a peace officer, and my brother's friend Mark, and he was also dressed like I think it was Mark or one of the other ones, and he was dressed as a peace officer. We were in Hyde Park, Jump for Freedom were playing, and I've got 5 minutes left before I've got to go into the school, so I better be quick. We were all dressed similar to police, but we had peace, right? So these coppers that were all trying to get rid of Jump for Freedom off of Hyde Park, where they were playing live and the big crowd had formed and they're trying to break it up. They're moving slowly closer and closer, and they came to us, and two coppers standing next to us, and one of them turned around to me and said, "Here, Sarge," right? Now, he referred to me as Sarge because I had the stripes. I haven't got it on this shirt, but I've got it on some of them. The chevrons, the sergeant stripes, right? That's a program, yeah? That triggered him referring to me as Sarge and giving me that kind of equal respect as his own sergeant, even though he knew I wasn't a police officer. And he was making a joke about the fact that, you know, one of your peace officers have got white trainers on. Are you going to allow that? You know what I mean? He was trying to make a bit of a joke, crap joke, but hey ho. They're not known for their sense of humour, they're known for their tyranny. Yeah, it's that trigger. If you dress similar to them, right, they are programmed to protect. It's part of their training. These are programs, they're computer programs for this. Like TV, that's why they're called programs. You know, it's obvious, because they program you, what they want you to believe, what they want you to see, what they want you to think. It's all programming, right? They're all computer programs, right? If I'm talking to you now, this is a computer program. This is me programming you. I've just explained to you about Tourette's. You now know what Tourette's is, how it feels, using blinking as an example, and the overwhelming urge, why it does it, etc., etc. That's a program, right? I've just uploaded to your computer, yeah, to your brain, yeah. So wearing authoritative uniforms, they deal with you very differently, and I've experienced this firsthand lots of times, yeah. They deal with you very differently. Doesn't mean I want to be one. Far, far, far from it. Far from it. I don't want them to be one. But they respect that authoritarian looking uniform. Yeah, they can't help it. It's part of their they can't seem to get that out of their head. So if you do the same, yeah, when you're dealing with them, bailiffs and whatever, you've changed the balance of power there already psychologically. It's a psychological weapon, a tool that I use. I wear it every day. Like I say, I've got various ones. I'm not wearing the same one all the time, just in case you're wondering. I've got a number of them. But I wear it also so people can see the branding and go, what's that? Because if they look me up or look up Peace Officers UK, they'll also find my Facebook account, Davey Stewart, and they'll see all the stuff I post on there. Posted on there. I don't use it so much now. I hate Facebook, but throughout all the pandemic, the last few years, I've posted all kinds of stuff, all kinds of memes, all kinds of comments, all kinds of accusations against the government or whatever. So as long as they can search for me or my organisation, yeah, and find me, they'll see some of the other opinions. And if they agree with some things that I'm saying, they're more likely to agree with those other things or go, oh, actually, maybe I should look more into that. So, you know, it's a bit like I say about, people say about Mad Mix, yeah, a good friend of mine, love the bloke to bits, very opinionated, that's brilliant, right? But sees through bullshit, that's what I love about him. And he's fearless, which is another thing I love about him. I love fearless people. But people say, oh, you're focused on your music now, what about, you know, what about the fight or whatever? Yeah, but if you're into his music, right, as a normie, if you go, oh, actually I quite like that, right, the stuff he's singing about is stuff that's going to program, isn't it? It's going to get in there and it's going to plant a seed. Yeah, that's a program. Yeah, so he's serving a purpose too, you know, and a very good one. He's solidifying that in people's heads. He's uploading programs, as we all do. The brain is the easiest computer to program, but it's the most powerful, the most incredible, and it's one that has never been either equaled or surpassed. Yeah, certain computers can do certain things, but they can't do everything that the human brain can do. Okay, so I use psychology to fight a psychological war, which is what this is. I use psychology to do it. So that's why I wear the uniform. It's not because I want to be one, right? I'd rather be able to wear, you know, all kinds of fancy designer t-shirts and jeans and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, if this has, you know, a purpose and it seems to be serving its purpose, then that's what I do. And if I get a call, I don't have to get changed all of a sudden. I can just go straight to it. Yeah, I'm already dressed for it. So hope that helps. Hope that answered it. If you've got any more queries, you know, please put them in the comments, as I say. And who knows, I might make a video about it. Take care, guys. Lots of love to you all. Respect you all. Keep the fight up. And remember, humanity always wins. Bless you all. Bye-bye.